A last pitch for power in the Senedd. On the eve of tomorrow's vote, the parties are out in force to win your support in this historic election.
Yes, polls open in the morning and change is definitely on the cards as to who runs this place. I'll have the latest on the last full day of the campaign.
With the stakes so high, every vote counts, of course, but there's concern tonight people may miss out after some postal votes haven't been delivered. Unlocking your culinary potential, how new food lockers are helping healthy eating habits become realistic. And on the lookout for a cuckoo, the new wildlife walk hoping to make it easier to spot one of our most elusive birds. Hello, good evening to you. Well, it is almost time for Wales to decide. Tonight is election eve and the Welsh leaders have been busy on the campaign trail trying to secure your support ahead of the polls opening tomorrow morning. It's one of the most crucial votes in Welsh political history, with Labour potentially losing the power they've held in Cardiff Bay since the Welsh Parliament's creation back in 1999. Our own ITV Wales poll yesterday revealed Plaid Cymru's share has risen to 33%, whilst Reform UK have retained their share at 29%. A fortnight ago, the two parties were neck and neck. So the stakes are high, and our national correspondent Rob Osborne has quite a lot to get through and tell us about tonight. He's live from outside the Senedd. Good evening to you, Rob. This election could bring massive change, couldn't it?
I think we can get rid of the could, Andrew, because even if there is no change in there are certainly fundamental changes coming. We'll talk about that in a moment. But you know what? There's been Senedd elections since 1999. It used to be called Assembly back then, didn't it? But nothing like this. Come on a tour with me. We know the Senedd, but this has international interest. That down there, that is Irish television. They're broadcasting right now to their audience. And over here, those tents over there, that is another big broadcaster in the UK. We will mention them. We don't have tents, but what we do have is the ITV Wales ballot box. And tomorrow, across Wales, much smaller versions of this will be opening up in communities where you are, as you decide who will be sitting in that place and forming the next Welsh government. I've been following the last full day of the campaign. Time is racing ahead. And before you know it, Wales will be electing a new Senedd. But who will sit in the chamber? You decide. And to help you make up your mind, the parties have been out trying to persuade in the last full day of campaigning. Lynette Morgan hopes the polls are wrong. She does not want to go down in history as the Labour leader who lost an election in Wales.
What we do know is other parties' policies are uncosted and undeliverable. We know that people maybe don't like everything that Labour's delivered in the past, but I do think they need to focus in these last few hours on the risks ahead if Labour's not in power.
Looking to make history of a different kind, Prynap Iorwerth. He wants Plaid Cymru to be the biggest party in the Senedd, and he to become First Minister. But he knows it's not in the bag.
One party has to be bigger than Reform. Only Plaid Cymru can be bigger than Reform. The way we do that is by getting as many members elected through getting as many votes cast for us as possible in every constituency throughout Wales.
Hoping to spoil Plaid Cymru's party is Reform. And last night, at a campaign event in Merthyr, Nigel Farage was drafted in, hoping to win over those wavering voters.
I'm confident, but I'm not complacent, so we're fighting for every single vote over the next 48 hours. It's going to be a tight race, but I think we can do it. I'm running to be First Minister. I'm running to form a Reform government. I think Wales desperately needs that. This is not some kind of, chessboard game or anything. This is about the people of Wales.
Absolutely essential that we get to as many people as possible.
For the Conservatives, this could well be a difficult election. For most of the last Senedd, they were the main opposition. If the polls are right, they could end up in fourth, maybe even fifth place.
You know, we're proud to be Welsh and proud to be British. That's the core of every single Conservative. We believe in freedom, personal responsibility, and getting the economy growing so that people can have well-paid jobs.
And what of a green surge? They have never held a presence in the Senedd.
The polls are indicating, they're fluctuating, but they're indicating there will be a Green presence, a group of Greens in the next Senedd, and that is going to change Welsh politics.
And Jane Dodds, the leader of the Welsh Liberal Democrats, hopes she will get back and will be joined by some Lib Dem colleagues sat beside her.
I'm really clear that a success is looking like more people in the Senedd. You know, I don't want to be Billy No Mates again, so if I'm re-elected, I want a team around me.
The voting will take place tomorrow. Most of the counts will take place on Friday. One thing is certain. History is about to be made. And we say history is going to be made because there have been those changes to how we vote. We'll talk a bit more about that in a moment. But just look at that poll we had yesterday, right? It confirms what a lot of people are saying privately, which is really neck and neck between who's going to be the biggest party. Is it going to be Plaid Cymru or is it going to be Reform? And when you say that, just think about who we're not talking about. We're not talking about Labour. Labour have won every national election in Wales for over 100 years. Could this be the time when they lose a Welsh election? We'll find out shortly.
Rob, we are poised. Not long to go now until the crucial votes, but bring us up to speed as well with some other issues we've been talking about around postal votes. Some packs not being sent out, is that right?
Yes, so we're all familiar with how we vote these days. Of course, we turn up at the ballot station and we put our vote in a box like that, or we get a postal vote. But in the last couple of days, reports have been emerging that some people in Cardiff are really not getting the postal votes they want. Residents in the constituencies, new constituencies, don't forget, of Caerdydd, Ffynnon and Caerdydd Penarth, reporting they've not received their postal vote packs. Cardiff Council confirms that over 1,300 have not been delivered. They say they have sent the necessary data they needed to their contractors to print the last intended run, but it did not fully take place. That's their words. Now, outstanding packs are being delivered by hand by Cardiff Council staff, and voters are expected to complete their ballot and hand it back at the point of delivery. However, people ask for a postal vote for all sorts of reasons, don't they? Partly, they may be on holiday. So what's going to happen in that situation if they can't be there to receive these hand-delivered notes? Well, the Cardiff Council say, unfortunately for those who are now away from home, there is no provision at this stage to cancel an existing postal vote arrangement in order to apply for an emergency proxy. And they regret the inconvenience that's going to be experienced.
And so what are the parties saying about all of this then?
Well, they're all sort of expressing how they think it's not an ideal situation. The Welsh Conservatives saying no, people who've applied for a postal vote should not be left wondering whether they'll be able to cast their ballot at all. Welsh Labour call it extremely concerning, as do Plaid Cymru, and Reform say it's totally unacceptable. The Greens and the Welsh Liberal Democrats, we're still waiting to hear from them.
And we will be following developments on that story as it develops. I'm sure you'll keep us up to date. We could see, Rob, you showed us earlier some of the media interest, the global media interest outside the Senedd. There, the scale of the event, the scale of the change that could be due on the cards this time, Labour potentially losing power, new constituencies, new voting system too. It's all happening.
It's all happening, Andrea. Yes, we've all got to get our heads around these new constituencies. We've all got to get our heads around a new way of voting. There's quite a lot to take on board, despite the fact we don't yet know who's going to be the biggest party and who's going to form the government. Luckily, Jonathan Hill has been looking into it and has told us all of this.
Once the votes have been counted and the ballot boxes put into storage for another 4 years, all eyes will be on this place.
Inside, change is already afoot. The chamber has been transformed physically to accommodate not 60 but 96 members of the Senedd, or MSs, drawn from 16 brand new super constituencies.
There's also a new voting system which will bring greater proportional representation, reflecting more closely how people have actually voted. So how then will a new government be formed? Well, it's highly unlikely that any one party will win an overall majority. So whichever party is the largest will need to cosy up to a like-minded party to combine their voting power into a majority, to vote down opposition parties and get their policies into place. That could mean a coalition, a formal agreement to work together, as we saw between Labour and Plaid Cymru back in 2007, or a less formal cooperation agreement, as was the case between the parties between 2021 and 2024. Alternatively, the largest party after the election could decide to be bold and go it alone as a minority government, relying on the extra votes they'd need to get their policies through on a case-by-case basis. The next big decision facing politicians will be who should be the new First Minister. Usually it would be the leader with the most number of MSs, but it's not a foregone conclusion. The largest party will nominate their candidate to sit here as FM, and then the new members of the Senedd will have their say in a vote. And in the past, it has gone down to a knife edge. The outcome of the election will be in the hands of the people of Wales, with the results expected throughout the day on May the 8th. What is certain is that big change is coming to this place, with more politicians than ever before elected through a brand new system in challenging times. Whatever the outcome, our politics is going to be anything but dull.
So your vote will take place tomorrow between 7 and 10 p.m, but you will find out what's happening probably mostly on Friday, because that's when most of the counts will be taking place. And here on ITV Cymru Wales, we will be live from 5 to 2 on Friday afternoon and throughout the day online as we tell you what is happening with the future of Wales.
We will be, and I will be at this desk for you, and we'll be speaking to all of you across Wales as well. Rob, thanks very much indeed. In other news tonight, a man has denied helping to provide the gun used to shoot a woman on her doorstep in South Wales. Joanne Penny died after suffering a single gunshot wound to the heart in March last year. Ronaldo Baptiste denies murder. Richard Morgan is outside Cardiff Crown Court for us this evening with more on this story. Richard, remind us what this case is all about, please.
Well, Andrew, as you were saying, Joanne Penny was shot at point-blank range when she opened the door at a property in Talbot Green on March the 9th last year. A victim, the court was told, of a drugs turf war between two gangs. One of those gangs, led by a man named Joshua Gordon, was trying to expand its operations into South Wales. But when it clashed with a rival group, there was an outbreak of violence, and this resulted in Joanne, who was an innocent victim, being shot dead. Now, earlier this year, Joshua Gordon and 3 others were found guilty of Joanne's murder. Marcus Huntley, the man who fired the fatal shot, separately pleaded guilty to murder. Another defendant, Ronaldo Baptiste, is currently on trial at Cardiff Crown Court behind me, also charged with murder. And over the last couple of days, the jury has been hearing his account of what happened in the run-up to that fatal shooting.
Richard, what have we heard about Ronaldo Baptiste's background in court?
Well, Andrea, the jury was told that Baptiste is currently serving a prison sentence for a separate murder to do with the drugs trade. That was committed in Leicester in 2021. Now, it's the prosecution case that while in prison for that offence, Baptiste was using an illicit phone to help him supply Joshua Gordon's drugs operation. It's also alleged that he helped supply the gun used in the fatal shooting. Now, Mr Baptiste denies this. He says that his interest in the South Wales drugs operation was purely financial. He had no other interest. But cross-examined today by prosecution barrister Jonathan Rees KC, it was put to him that this wasn't the case based on his previous record. Mr Rees said, "You don't have any problem using serious violence to protect your drugs business, do you?" Mr Baptiste replied, "Yes, I do have a problem with that." Now, Ronaldo Baptiste denies murder and the trial continues. Andrea.
Richard Morgan in Cardiff for us, thank you. Parents and carers of primary school aged children in Barry are being warned about an outbreak of Hepatitis A. Public Health Wales says a small number of cases of the same strain of the viral infection have been identified in 3 separate households in the town. And our reporter Kate Lewis is in the newsroom with the latest on this. Kate, this will concern a lot of parents.
Yes, Andrea, it is understandably worrying for parents, especially those with primary school aged children in Barry, where the small cluster of cases have been confirmed. What is hepatitis A? Well, it is a viral infection of the liver. Symptoms can include a fever, feeling very tired, a loss of appetite, feeling sick or being sick, and jaundice, which is a yellowing of the skin or eyes. Now, in most cases, it is a mild illness, and those who have it recover well, particularly children. Some who contract the virus may not show any symptoms at all, but parents are being urged to be vigilant. Public Health Wales says it is managing the situation closely, and the key message from them is around basic hygiene, which can significantly reduce the risk of catching the virus and spreading it.
In the areas of the schools that have been affected and contacted, we're asking people firstly to make sure that their children have good hand hygiene, washing their hands before and after going to toilets and eating food, that if they've been invited for vaccination as part of the investigation, that they should do that via their GP.
So as you heard there, a vaccination has been offered to people who are already known to have been in close contact with those infected, and it's believed that everyone identified has now been offered a vaccine. But the message is, if you do develop symptoms, to phone your GP or contact NHS 111.
OK, Kate, with that information, thank you. It is 16 minutes past now. Still on the programme, we'll be live with Hamish, who is hawk-eyed for us this evening, aren't you?
I've been trying to spot one of the most elusive birds in the British Isles by joining a special guided tour here at Newport Wetlands.
And I'll have all the details about the weather over the coming days. Something more unsettled on the way over the weekend. Join me later to find out more.
All that to come. First though, busy lives and the rising cost of food can mean many of us can't eat as healthily as we'd like or should. Wales has an obesity problem and many people don't have the time, space or skills to cook healthily. Now a project is introducing food lockers to communities in North Wales. Our correspondent Carol Green explains how they work.
Loading up the food locker with fresh ingredients and recipe cards for online customers to pick up and go. It's the idea of social business Well Fed, who believe good food should be affordable and available to everyone.
What it's about for us is about diet and having healthier lifestyles. So what we're making sure is that everybody can afford to eat great food no matter who they are.
Busy mum Bernadette says it's quick and convenient.
Brilliant idea, it really is, just to be able to come and get it, because I've got such a fussy family at home, so be able to pick these up and not have to go out picking all the individual items up in the supermarket. So to be able to just come and pick the bag up, know that everything's in that bag to cook that meal, and then it's get on with it, so that's great.
Hannah, you've just picked up your meals. What did you go for?
I think I've got a couple of curries in there. I've got a pilau rice, all sorts of things. I'm very excited. So I saw that this was local. I was really encouraged that there were no ultra-processed foods in the products, and it was really easy to place the order, come and collect it, and there's currently an offer on, so it was £13.50 for 4 meals for 4 people.
The food locker is supported by the cathedral.
We recognised that it was very important for people to be able to have access to good quality, nutritious food. All of the food that's delivered here is non-UPF, so non-ultra processed food. We all set that target for ourselves that we're going to cook good, nutritious food at home, but it's really difficult. People are busy, they're trying to pick their kids up, they're trying to care for other people. So we knew that being able to offer this locker system means you can pick the food up on your way to school, on your way home from school, on your commute, as you're coming to work, all of those things. We just wanted to make sure that we were part of that, because the cathedral recognises how important the community is, and we want to make sure that everyone's got access to good food.
There are other similar food schemes, but this one is driven by purpose and not profit. Carol Green, ITV News, St Asaph.
You are watching Wales at 6. Thanks very much for being with us. A reminder now of our top story this evening. On the eve of the election, the Welsh leaders have been busy out on the campaign trail trying to secure your support. It's one of the most crucial elections in Welsh political history. The polls open tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. and still ahead with Mary Nightingale on the ITV Evening News.
Coming up on the programme, several hantavirus patients are evacuated from a cruise ship off Cape Verde, but now the row over where it should dock. The new trial exploring the benefits of double cochlear implants helping people to hear again.
It was like being reborn. It's the singularly best thing that has ever happened in my entire life.
And the 94-year-old piano player who's released his first album for charity. Well, do join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
Mary with you very shortly. Now, it's called sounds just like its name, but when's the last time you actually saw a cuckoo? Well, if you're into a bit of bird watching, then you'll be twitching to hear more about the new guided wildlife walks on the Newport Wetlands. And Hamish Alskerry has spent the day there trying to spot the cuckoos and other elusive birds as well. So, Hamish, we all want to know, how did it go then?
Well, Andrea, put it this way, when camera operator Sam and I arrived this morning, we tried to keep our expectations low because these birds are incredibly rare. Back in 1997, there were just 11 male bitterns anywhere across the UK. Amazingly, last year, more than 280 were identified. But even so, a group of enthusiasts this morning came to try their luck and their ears to hear one of the great sounds in British wildlife. And of course, when you keep your eyes open for one thing, you're never quite sure what else you might see.
The Newport Wetlands, established at the turn of the century as a nature reserve.
If we're lucky, we'll see little owls, or hear cuckoos and bitterns and all the rest of it. So keep your eye out.
Heaps of polluted ash from nearby industrial work once characterised this area. Now, from bees to birds, there is wildlife everywhere you look. But while some birds clearly like to show off, twitchers like Bob are on the lookout for two very elusive species.
Bitterns and cuckoos, really, neither of which I've ever seen. I've heard cuckoos and I've heard bitterns booming, but I've never actually seen either bird, so I'm hoping I might catch a glimpse of one.
What would it mean for you to see one?
Well, it's just something off the bucket list, really.
And you can understand the fascination. The call of the bittern is unlike any other. Actually catching a glimpse of it, a rare and special event. And that's what this group have travelled here for, hoping to see a bird that helped reshape this landscape.
The bittern was the whole point of transforming this place from what was essentially just a wasteland into a place that is now absolutely teeming with life. The bittern itself was once thought to be completely extinct, but every year here at the Newport Wetlands, its decline is slowly being reversed.
The rudd, the fish that are around us here now, introduced in 2011, 2012, the first attempted breeding in 2018, to the point now in 2025 where we had, we think, 4 nests here and about 14 successful fledglings. That's a massive change over a relatively short period of time and shows what can be done by an investment in the environment.
During this morning's tour in the sunshine, there were some false alarms.
Yep, bittern. Hang on, no, it's grey heron, I think it is. Sorry, grey heron. Yeah, it's a heron, sorry. Good spot, though.
And even though owls weren't today's target, there's always joy to see one perched on a branch.
Oh, it's been brilliant. We've seen quite a few things. We haven't seen the one we want to see, the bittern. We haven't even heard the bittern, but we've heard the cuckoo, so that was a plus. And the kingfisher was a wow.
I think it's really important for nature, for the country, for everybody that we protect these sites and keep the opportunity for the habitat for the bittern, and it's important for the future.
Typically, while we filmed in one beautiful direction, some of the group spotted a cuckoo in the other. No one had any luck with the bittern, however. But thanks to conservation, there is steadily more chance of seeing one every year here, and I strongly suspect many will be back to try again.
So we didn't see a bittern, but you know what? I don't think anyone left after this morning talking about what they hadn't seen. People were talking about that amazing kingfisher experience they had. And the tour guide, Alin, said that his joy in this job is seeing people's excitement at seeing a bird for the very first time, bringing out emotions they didn't know they could ever feel about seeing a bird. And if you're tempted by any of this, well, there are many of these guided tours all through the year here at Newport Wetlands. So why not come along and try it out yourself? You may have more luck than we did.
I'm quite envious, Hamish. It looks like you've had a very relaxing, peaceful and scenic day there. Well, let's see if it's bird watching weather then. Here's the forecast with Georgie Palmer.
Midday Mayan temples, followed by sunny afternoons on the sand. TUI sponsors ITV Cymru Wales weather.
Hello, good evening. Apart from some slow-moving showers across parts of Pembrokeshire today, it's not been a bad day. Similar over the next few days as well, showers and sunny spells, but typically just in time for the weekend. Something more unsettled on the cards as well. The current situation is that we're sandwiched between areas of low pressure and high pressure. So right now we've got very light and slack winds. So overnight tonight it remains very much the same conditions wise as we saw it during the day today. Long clear spells, some patchy cloud. The cloud thick enough in places just for some spits and spots of rain. But the main change overnight tonight will be the temperature. The winds gradually veering around to more of a south-southwesterly direction, drawing in that milder air from the Atlantic. So a frost-free night tonight, you'll be glad to hear, with lows down to around 5 degrees. So tomorrow morning starts off on a cool and a bright note, but that strong May sunshine gets to way, burning away the cloud. Long spells of sunshine developing for most of us. Again, in the same spots as today, we could see 1 or 2 sharp showers, but generally not a bad day. And again, it is going to feel milder with that southwesterly wind. Highs tomorrow reaching 15 degrees, so around average of the time of year. But all changed by Friday. We've got this cold front here that will bring some bands of more heavy and persistent rain through the day on Friday as low pressure sinks southwards. And that really sets the scene for a very changeable weekend as well. On Saturday, we are expecting some spells of more persistent rain, some bright spells, a better day on Sunday and cooler for all of us. Bye-bye.
TUI sponsors ITV Cymru Wales weather.
And that's it from us this evening on Wales at 6. We'll see you for our late update. That's after the news at 10 with Kate. For now, though, from us, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.